Abusiam akwaba edoba CTV Jumedie so and enwumre we yebesere na mode a chain. We are supposed to start around 8 pepepe. So 30 minutes into yebesere na mode a chain. Your friend RSM Kofido Lawson beyond politics Jumedie na yedeba wakwamu. And then ye mo boss ye wo enkomobidi into ye nchere ho yebeto aso na yakoye nimu. Last week ye sha se no na nkomo aye di yesika sem ene bosha ye de share Ghana fo se ye be ye de amayen tie di nkomo kakra efa bosha omo shefa interest rate ho ene ho enkro no ba wo mo ekeka enti ye hweye se sa bosha no yetimi yeduru ho ana ene ye ko ba bi foforo financial sector clean up no ena ye ko ho ene se wo manifesto ni bia medical wonya ntiese na ye di dwuma page 13 cleaning up the financial service sector mess eno ena ye dwumedi a wo mu eka so mbeye e de amaye nti sankomo no na nwumre we ye ba beto aso so mo clean up no ezunzuanso be na ba ye ezunzuanso e ba ye papa ana ye bone ahemfa na saa na montuo no e de yen akwakoduro Abusuya yan chere ho no meboni to awu munsem no mo kan nti Mr. Wada. This is the document I am using. The leadership of service way NPP amanyuku na de ma in 2020 omo manifesto asem na make protecting our progress transforming Ghana for all. Enti page 14 ena ye di hu adwuma meboni tew na fe yempeni ane ne ebedi nkomo wa ha no yama na kwaba na fe ye koye ni ma ne sesanse nde ye bre no kopa say accounting for our stewardship. The NPP inherited a weak and fragile financial service sector from the Mahama-led NDC government. Many financial institutions had either collapsed or were on the verge of collapse. Many were not paying their depositors or employees at all or regularly. There were countless instances where customers made long journeys to withdraw as little as 200 Ghana cedis only to be asked to come another day. These failures were a direct result of a system of poor licensing and regulation, non-existent capital, weak corporate governance characterized by related party transactions and political influence. Political influence peddling among others. Many innocent people, depositors, investors, and employees suffered the consequences of these grievous lapses. Yes, you can't boy, but you be called Jumedian money. I heard saying Yama 80. Yenya ewa yena no bedi sa and common. Yes, I said last week, and I hear twice. So, political commentator and an advocate for responsible democratic governance, David Zekpa Ofiano. Dama kwaba. Te bibia boko. Bibia boko. Ye de radiase. Amen. Enti ye nchara ho ye be hyase na ya hwe isene enyemes. Yes, and there was a challenge with our financial sector. And I remember I said before I ever to about here, President Mahama no admit here. I think the last State of the Nation address challenges were what I was saying Jumana. Fofia Antwata no Jaraba Mono Fia Bermun buyer. Yeah, the antecedent and sana clean up no air, but no chassis.
Good evening and good evening to Ghana. Good evening to our viewers and good evening to the people of Krobo Dumasi, where I come from. It's my mother's roots. Yes. So today the conversation we have is of the financial sector cleanup, and it's actually a problem that is on our hands. We haven't gotten out of the woods. We are still living the repercussions of the financial sector cleanup. And then you may Ejuma and Koma ye babidi, and Koma ye pese ye deny di no cra a war and sema MPP a trofa a Mahama buying answer mobile with regards to the financial sector. na me say first paragraph now read here no me say obeka ma me bio just to
first one,
the very first paragraph. The
NPP inherited a weak and a fragile financial service sector from the Mahama-led NDC government.
Yes. Continue, please.
And I'm saying many financial institutions had either collapsed or were on the verge of collapse. Many were not paying their depositors or employees at all or regularly. There were countless instances where customers made long journeys to withdraw as little as 200 cedis, only to be asked to come another day.
Okay, thank you. Enti neomuchro we no, neomuchro wa ha no. Eno na me pese me ma etiefo ne omo amohwe ye ti asese enye nokre.
Na net say
NPP aban amfa nokre anye adwuma. 2020 omo pese ye to abama omo nti no nema edimu nyina no na omo ka efra na ewo mu ni say yetie radio ehwe TV all right but information ya dey be a one ni chire particularly say I'm interested in this information wonya correct information no as a matter of fact no way back in 2016 before Mahama left no there was no indication of liquidity crisis, liquidity difficulties in this country. There was nothing like that. Especially at the, especially I'll tell you, remember where home. Especially at the customer level. Say customer beko bank. Na okwakoyi ni sika. Na ya kacha ni se usika no. Ye ni sika ye debe ma enti kofie.
No ka banks. Ana ka microfinance for there here na ka wansome. Is it the banks? Because the omugu ya no mugu bank. Omugu savings and loans,
microfinance,
Omugu microfinance, Omugu securities and into the na
okay, into make some banks because the finance microfinance any savings and loans no more does. Into ABR smaller ones in the system are you ensure that and pay attention to them no. ABR how they even form the company. The basis was not very strong, and so you have sporadic kind of events like that. In an economy or in a country, you will get people who, one way or the other, manipulating nyama said but want to make fast microphone and events, you know, and find yourself. See, banking sector clean up now. We are talking about the main banks. The big problem we had at the time, no main banks, no. What I say, it is so much say. Within the time omo buy no na Mahama buy 2016 oko banka unsan kan osika
200 cedis
I think say it's not very true na ewo ho at the time no corporate level default. So I said corporate level default I said bank A any bank B me mo bank B adin bank A any bank B omo ye business me here sika dia ye bibi customer bia baby sa mesika bi emre a ode ma me a ode pesika no e bia na sika ne so emre ne so enti menya time angada sika na ma no enti bia be ka say oh asemasi ma mesika we na me fan solve problem we me solve we ama me Friday na me fan ma and a company to company and no na at the time there were defaults among companies but no cry no enye weird enye ade a ensi enye normal normal at ICDBA. What you say? Because even in our ordinary businesses, no. Obiton iron rods, Obinsuton way, supplier to delay payments. What you say? If your creditor, customer, wabeto ultimate delay payment. It's normal in business. It's no, and a evidence in the financial sector or in the financial space at the time of their taking over. It is almost a bank. It could be some musika. And now Monsanka and a basis for the financial sector cleanup. It wasn't true because the events are a leading to the financial sector cleanup. Sorry, to the run on the banks. I able to go to an say yes, CEO bank you go. It's not man for a dynamic. And no, Mahama abaye mu na esi esi wo mo abaye mu what I say esi wo mo abaye mu time a almost starting ye nyama bia ebo nkofo right?
Yeah.
Yes, it got people scared,
yeah.
and so people went out there to take money. What I say, financial sector no, ye sika ye japade, right? Enti se odo sika ekoto baby. Ne ye catch us say asem we beto asemesi ana beto sa company we a obi abeka so wo dwane akọ yi ne sika. So what I say, na bank adwuma ye no enye se ode osika ba na so bia ba ne so oje ne sika ye benya ama no enti sa
net say
said yet ne say bank no wode osika ba no ebia sika no edo ewo hu no edo sododo enti o hwa me pese mese me de koto na daachi bi mi da ya de said e be ya ense obi nso wo be bia o hia sika e de yinema goods e free China onu hia sika no wo hia nene enti wo de abeto ho ono nso no ohia ye de ama no wa share mra o de baba beji what I say enti no we are taking advantage of the fact that there is no coordinated request for the money.
Okay.
Say a man for embo mutipo say ele ye kwaje yesika.
Bia ne bra kwaje.
Enti se nyama da ho normal a anka onko bank em ye nka ncho say sika ni ho. It is a health insurance. Health insurance ya ye. I know utua I think sometime back it was 23 cedis. So 23 cedis now utua no. I didn't know to make a hospital ko hu doctor. A lab. Edru ni nyina na ye the bill brewa sa medical hospital now or attended that day nkwa no it may cost about 250 cedis and so annual insurance out here 23 cedis into then insurance it is because insurance is based on the expectation say ye nyina ye yare mbom what I say
I can guess we can no.
Thank you. Good. Enti financial sector no. Se wo kokasa na ebonko fu na enunti no omude akumatu right?
Na ayam
hihye. Eko bank na so. Say ye nyina aye pe sika nde fama me mpese be loke. Mate say ye say bank say ni say betu no. Enti the problem is not the bank. The problem is who created the chaos.
So which people created that panic?
It is the MPP. Because see, omoba no kan but mame kan free hama. Some of their issues when they came into power omode bae almost say corporate governance at the banking in the banking sector weak.
I know you're corporate governance
you can't empenyefo a ehwe bank ne so no at the highest level ebia MD CEO deputy CEO at that level no said the mototo omoniama said the moye omoniama no na enkoyie enti sikadie ne sika ye explain sika we ayira corruption ne saniama no ekoso wo enti na enyefe. Okay. I know you one complaint on the buyer. Another complaint almost say banks are doors for Ghana dodo. Just purely
no how be
you.
The bizarre now would tell
because we are talking about financial inclusion.
And I how be
you
and I hack the system.
The question is we are talking about financial inclusion. Yes, ubia and find the second quarter bank. Now, there are some areas in the corners people don't have access. What I say, if banks are many in the system or financial institutions are so many in the system, it is not about the numbers. Okay, it is not about the numbers. It is how they are run. Until they are digressing. Into one of their reasons is that they are weak banking operations. Say the papa. Almost say non-performing loans. Loans are to me okay. I think Nyama be 3-4 way. Now Nyama 3-4 way it is no basis to collapse banking sector. This is not the first time in our history in this country Rebecca say banks enya problem. No e was see a good na. What I say? Enti say ye can antecedents to the financial sector cleanup. Ye say Nyama be ne see
eko fast
nyama nyina bae na nyama pa ka tre etiefo na omo hwe ne say nyama MPP e ka to Mahama any NDC to say and no to mobile collapse banks and then no crack because you and paying for Sebi. United yet Krum Hasi. Bisa who say 2016 Anyebia Uko Bank say Uku Yiska and the catcher say Famawana. Time bang and as I didn't see it. It was 2017-2018 when all the chaos and all the pronouncements and announcements happened. They created the chaos themselves. Okay? Omu use examples excuses I can't say okay? Omu use in any case, corporate governance. And then bring our castle we bibia or clinic sector and bibia kamano. Go to corporate governance, go to the various companies and see if you don't see corporate governance infractions. You will see problems. Some of the banks are still owing each other. Banks need be at default and ne aye kase. Ko baby MDA bibia workers MP. Ko baby HR any accountant any say bibia obi mpe. Corporate governance issues have been there and they are there. We advocate against them and we speak for better. But enon say ebe nyina so a ebetimi de aye asema ye beka say ye good companies nyina. Enti na nwumre me be prove ama etiefo na omo hwe say the chronology of events said the nyama siye omu ye we ena we siye me be kan ni nyina
nti ye mfa numwum na ye manage ye
time
and nyama na e ba ye ma ye hwe sa nyama na esisi ya eno so de ohaw no ekodum pompo so eduru
yo enti proye ene
katasese
ene said the nyama nkoyi e wo financial sector no e ade na e wo ho fitititi what you say enti around 2016 and a Mahama buying a modern new act, your friend Act 930. Okay, it is supposed to instruct how the banking sector operates. Okay, into almost a nyama bebre. Okay, na nyama no almost sign. First one almost sign say, seka anadwetra was say bank wo. Mahama buying.
August was a bank being an
omu mu enti eno no na August 2016 okay enti elections no ye co-elections no 2016 December and so this act on record no e pass August 2016 thereabout what I say enti na this law no e wo hadada na emra e wo law e act mu no ba ko ne say Greater bank biya didi dwa no e wo so bopegem na 120 million Ghana cedis
na sata na dwete nesu
120 million
technically no nesu
let's just say so because of the volume of business, the nature of business, the risk involved ne sanya maniti no omo ye calculations ehun say okay say sade asendra 10 Ghana and e di bie bank dia and ne say de nyama aye no mu empegem kakra ne emfa nko 1 million okay what I say it fan say bibi sa e na emra ne say yempegem eno mu pegem enti emra ne say wo say bank bia unya 400 million
okay
all right
anu na be ye udwetire
enu be ye udwetire a obetimi dia operate
okay
na historically abakomusem na what do you call it
abakosem
yes abakosem kire say mostly no abrebia law be peja sa dwetire ni mu bia no ye mancro for 3 years to 5 years ye ma banks 3 years to 5 years so mo fan pesa ska no mo fan renew mo license aban we buy no almost on bank bia 1 year
instead of the 3 years
instead of the 3-5 years now munim no because obi did 120 million a year business
na sata not technical experts na omo the central bank and as omo system no omo antu aban no fo ana say omo anom tu aban no fo say wonye sa
oh na say na say appointment to the governorship of the Bank of Ghana no political. It's a technical.
But so we still have the technical people.
Yes, they have. But when you advise, it is a so pe and obe fana so pe on fa. What I say by force. It is say omo catch and one fana one catch no de mini hobi. What I say. But the animal say 3 to 5 years. Aban we buy no. O say sam page mo na me page no. Me ma mo 1 year obi an pesa sika no. Okay. What I say. O kan sa no one more a friend say briefing space. Into sha with the 120 million I started Juma and then now the year Juma. Near catch us after they pay 400 million. There's a wide gap. I was on banks time to develop that capital. It is a 2 fee. Now it's 120 Ghana cedis. Now rent in we and so amount notice say Mr. One rent ni wa meje 400 rent ni nyan we kra no no say meje 400 Ghana cedis no obey that ya. This is what happened in the financial sector. They didn't have space. 1 year was too narrow a time period. San common fine or fan pesa scan. A free honor and check August 14th 2017 in January thereabout and I'll pass a law no say na pesa ye 8 months later na aban egu Capital Bank and UT Bank omegu banks no until 1 year no crime Andrew answer right until sa action no mu take here no 2 banks going down in the same period on the same day. What do you think it will create? A month for kuma betu into a month for kuma 2 year akuma 2 year no and no rush here and no and the creating the first
2 banks no gu ya no UT Bank and
the Capital Bank
egu ya no na manfo hu say okay UT Bank mpo na egu and your mam nko yi misike
na say because you say what say obi abodwe share
no akwadapu
enti omo a anka enka omo kra no obi akomatu
obi abeso obo ni sika ho
bam
enti omo nim say omo de na egu no so omo nsa be kan
sa pepepe enti no that was the first instance of panic withdrawals. There was no instance of panic withdrawals in the Mahama administration prior to 2017. No. Etie 40 ye baby lines. Nia obefe no kwanya mi enim obeka no kra kire no. Obi mfe no ma ye hu say 2016, 2015 okaw bank so okoje ne sika ene ya mfama no. Aye beka che say bank ne sika ite onko fie. This was the first instance of panic withdrawals. A free honor and a 5 banks. You come when you na boom. At the CBG. What I say, yes, omo capital. Any seka omo di dwane omo books be behind ye enti ye come when you na boom. Na RSM.
Na me bo mi ntwa no na no omo ka boom no. Omo timi resist our capital no. Eye offense there was so munya no
yes omo raise mo but no kwan enye no kwan na question also obisa question also obisa ne say wo ka enipa enum a omo yare ebomu a utimi nya nipa ba ko a otiapo let me put it in the English
but number say me say
the 5 banks were sick banks
no dwetire no anse ne aba omo yare no so
omo ni bi
na say wa kan yare fo enum
abom now so person wunya nipa otiapo ayare ni ho. How do you combine 5 banks that were struggling financially? They came together and the following year they declared profit. And you said the banks were sick. So 5 men combined together will produce 1 healthy man. These are facts and figures. Enya dia obi akotena baby. Entina me say me dem me ba ha enya tem didie ne omaka ne yehu ne ewo paper mu eno ne yeka enti from there no omo collapse omo combining those 5 banks e dey 1 bank no eno actually eno omo create Ghana Amalgamated Trust sa Ghana Amalgamated Trust eno so J5 banks
okay
what I say a J5 banks we no anche na GN Bank omo reclassify GN Bank from bank to savings and loans. GN Bank catch almost say Mudemeka, I buy the meka. It is Sikana, who can say mini bin, and yes, a mini bin, but media mouth.
How can mammy?
Sikano, media ma one cassa, Messica war. It is Yamekasa Sikan, no Jamaica. My books will balance. When
Indian Bank,
when Tiano, and not where they wrap in, reclassify no, and the savings and loans. Me ma chronology no me ma order no anche u na Bank of Baroda me nim say unim Bank of Baroda and no say Indian bank bia e ma e friend say good financial assistance in the country almost 40 year e call ye and actually Indum Bank na e bank we reclassify by savings and loans no savings and loans by the time Baroda left anche na 23 savings and loans. The collapse your the GN
GN nanka o dwane free bank mu no anko pese obey savings and loan dey anka na so madwona obey business no ye de no can new ones and the house ye good no street 23 banks over there collapsed and actually 347 microfinance companies were closed down. Umia she numbers ayeka na she figures. These are people's businesses. People have invested in these things. So yare weokrani na sebe yare account to form kakra na efu awo ebru ebrufu corn farm na say ebrufu na say after 2 weeks okoye na emu efu okoye na emu efu RSM then obey obeto obu eyi enwura na efirima na say odi ebufu be fasikan na sham because we are now defie no o ma no o mbra no emwefu into uwefu into no o twitwa enwura ene we buru ni nyina egu what be that
na say ukura na o ba no o yare na o ho tondu ni sa hoden.
Thank you
into beto obo na we siesie no na say gina na so
now only my ba ko e wo financial sector mo companies no bebre na year business ebom. 80 savings and loans no ah the second amount no e bi okoje wo bank what I say okoje wo bank e no de ba be ma wo we akoje we wa ha we akoje we wa ha enti
nyina mu ye adwuma bom
what I say enti collapse na wo collapse no hu ne say wo collapse GN obi di GN ka GN di obeka enti wo GN bank na yana hu ne say wa ha obi enti she numbers no UT Bank, Capital Bank, and we 2. 5 banks merged into one, and we another. 5 banks into GAT, GN, Echo, Bank of Baroda, Echo, Heritage and Premium Bank, Echo, 23 savings and loans, where Guno, 347 companies, IM microfinance, where Guno. Miriam, we are buying. Now, Ubetina kunyem, anakunyaso. Na Udi suwe ni so say mi begu nyuma what do you expect me ka ko si say
nyama ne nye ntomu ugu no
there be and I make say efuo ni mufu a ye to ye bodo enti no wa ba na nyama mu nye no sa nyama o list ye no they are not even a case for collapse of a company. Because me ka ko si say na ye ka say no ma ye wie na mo ka say o sisi ade ye prepra kwan mo bibia ye kosisi a na omo free so na abanfo from many investigations omo dey some be kan form ho but abanfo from be investigations we will see the same infractions, we will see the same problems. Say bank where the wake it na make I'm trying to express the fact say it was not a basis to collapse the banks. It was not a basis to collapse the banks. It was a lazy work. How would you say a lazy work? Akwadrejuma. Say mo betu mubu. Na wahwe ne eko. Entade eko sei no. Ye be ne sen, ye nye ne sen. Ye ndane ne sen. Amanfo ejuma. Enkrofo sika. Okay, the next paragraph almost say they have saved jobs. How can you say you have saved jobs with the collapse of the banks? When you combine 5 banks into one bank, MD5, no you never got a new bank, now 5 MDs ana. HR 5, chief accountant 5. My brother, and in Kontumpuana, the lies this government is used to telling people is obnoxious. I can't say what you and I throw a buy way a catcher amamba citizens no. Udune wa ontiase.
All right. Ave ye brain into yenhwe the impact. Yenhwe how at the buy. Send ye esitie because na ye can in the ways na ebinum the political lens in the very na ko ebibie. Send and technically net saying or how no net say
you can impact now impact no ene ebema etiefo ene omo hwe hu say aban we edie o aban we eya abro aban we eya aban a omo se omo dum yen ba omo kuyen
kumfo dum
in fact omo ndum yen
omo den de kumfo
omo be kum yen what you say because impact no 3 levels. Impact 1 impact on ordinary citizens, the banking community. Yeah, you sika koto bank. Yeah, you banks, businesses. Amount for pension, amount for obiako jene teacher ni nurse ni wa jene pension or what say oh Indum bank omuma good interest na or this kana koto say oh ma me fan koto ha no omuma me kakra na me na me atwa me nyame say obefrem you know that kind of thing. These people have had faith in the financial sector or in the financial system and placed monies. Why my life I basa. And then Omo Kacha said they rolled out orderly fading out of their banks, making sure jobs were secured and all depositors got their money. What kind of lie is that? Who are these people? This cohort of politicians, this cohort of MPP leadership, I'm asking, who are these people? Have Ghanaians taken their time to ask, say, who are these people? Ghana. It is just pathetic. They tell blatant lies. We were in this country. People were queuing, can't get their money. And you take that whole thing, everything I didn't see in that period in Ghana. What kind of dishonest group of people are these?
But this is here they will be.
Thank you. Because me say me baha.
Because only bankers ni be kasa. You want form no more bankers. Do na ebinum ekoto uba no muchom uba ni ade. And when you talk to them, you see how peeved they are. No bra.
Enti no omo twa omo ho na omo tro niama we e wo book mo say ye manifesto ni a. Enu tina me bisa me say sankrofo we no. Omo firi. Enti amanfo ebre no omo ehu. Na Mahama na obedi ne mra a otwe mu a yese ye penalty voting out no. Be se china no pa. Omo blaming Mahama for their own failures. What kind of people are this? They don't even have the character say ade we anye ni ye. What I say? Enti no aban we no e wo say ye yire ye ho. Ne ye ma etiefo ne omo hwe ye. Eti omo ho asese aban we nya aban ye eboa Ghana. MPP aban Mahama Bawumia aban enya aban a eboa Ghana. Me say ba Akufo-Addo Bawumia aban enya aban a eboa Ghana. Hwe se e kan impact apart from yen a ye suffer no companies are any banks ye adwuma obunye na omanya problem security companies because bank bia no omo security enti ye wo omo a omate security add the biano omo workers eco bank okohwe omo nsuo omo print checkbook omo print leaflet paper niama omo nyina condemn to grebo omo a omo ye catering bank for omo nko break ebi mu nwa aduane e de brem e wo bank hono sankofo ni nyina cleaning services omo nyina condemn to grebo enti se e ka se ugu bank a me hwe se megu GM bank a bank or the financial sector is a web of finely intertwined silk threads. Okay. Me who said the mechanic bro for a tea from Fanchemi. Me who said the mechanic tree. It's
a bank and anazika crabiano. I say omukita ntomo de abo niam bebre
send ya ka say we di we ho we bo we busia we bo niam bebre enti na make say sisi ano hu ne say megu GM bank megu your friend say capital bank megu we but enkrofo a affect you omo no enye easy e doso pa u free ho a Before I leave there, no, Sanko for winning for omo printing Emma Bank. Wakoji paper every China, India, maybe a 40 footer or they are busy because
now all of a sudden you go no
waboka. Omo signing contracts. Omo
loan with the same bank.
Thank you. Na she bank na oni omo ye adwuma no. E ho no de ne sika to. Enti ugu bank na afi omo pre apa omo sika no. Ono businessman ne sika lock. Woni menkrofo omo call CBG a omo san come sika for several months. If you are a businessman, how does that affect your business? How does that affect your business? It's serious. When you know FED into the economy, because all these agents are agents operating within the economy. Into economic crisis now, you will see ano. Met me a catcher, met me a sisupi. A catcher say, Ekufado, Baumia, Ufuriata, Addison. Sanko for me anai we are almost share sika so e wo man mu no omo de omo nsan e creative problem aye wo mu. It is self-inflicted. Obroni makers self-inflicted because you took decisions that will affect the economy. And you took decisions that are not good for the country, for the economy, and you are sitting down hoping that things will balance out. It doesn't work like that for real.
That's a P. David Zekpa na Aidin Komo and Enyumrewe, or a political commentator and advocate for responsible democratic governance. He has a lot of knowledge about finances. Intina Yedisa Enkomo. Na Yabrano, and then the same I don't start being so Yabakuini. Na yenhwe nsisi ababi abedri nti mama mbisa sa question we na yenhwe se yebetimi atwa ho aba yenhwe ho aba ne mama ahwefo nso ai abamu ana yahwe enanu so bekai a yehye NIB case ya aba ya konkonkonko hoyi yehye ase na yehye ase no ana oka se enema bi suso enema bi mu na akofa de abai a yesisi anu ahwa na ya merge NIB National Investment Bank and the Agricultural Development Bank near who and so ya asamba kwa konkon ho and I know the minority spoke about it akoye enti asem where ye di hu nkomo yi e ka ho bi na akofa sa asem naba ana asesen
hwe ni nyina aka ho Indum Dr. Indum omugu ne bank no okan bibi say omumfa ne sikama no na omu de ne sikama na ni nyina be balance wodim say ye ba be disankomo we nti no me di na machi saa na mekonya NIB document we a report obi atro mean to me mbo nipa ne din wa ha obi atro
a report be
it's a report on NIB and ADB. Okay, a report on NIB and ADB.
Okay.
Yeah, juxtapose on finances. Ni say okay, idea betimi aye djuma na. Na me fab document me study pa. Na me yemu shame. Because emre ne ho enti no me be bone tew. And I mean person be kama be bom adwene mu aka no obi akodjambe straight up. Or say NIB has not operated at full capacity since 2017 due to restrictions from the regulator, Bank of Ghana.
Intino went to me Juma because and sensem bi fi nipa na ohweso no Bank of Ghana no. What and
these are the problems of NIB. Are buying MPP are buying Dr. Addison, Bank of Ghana is not helping the bank. What I say?
And this are
no last week maybe say omumbe tremu nintia omo run economy the way they are doing it. NIB asem no enya asem a ye betimi aka no short but mebu bosso. NIB was not permitted to grant loans including business and commercial loans since 2017. Just a bank woman loans where they nya interest. One my instructions say money loans. Okay. NIB doesn't have the minimum capital. Unim say or say NIB has performed well in deposit mobilization compared to ADB, even though it has lost most of its customers due to challenges it is facing, on the instructions of the finance minister. Or say the finance minister instructed state institutions to stop placing funds with NIB since 2017. Ofuriata, Ekatre state institutions, say more move from Musikan Koma NIB bio. Since on Oumbiyan. Since 2017.
A man from Kudija or Hobiuma. Then I sent to a bank in the
road fund, which used to come to NIB, was also stopped, even though NIB financed major road contracts. To the point that even Cocoa Board money was withdrawn. Now, when they discover, baby, or say large proportion of the loan book of NIB has been written off over the years, leading to negative income in the books of NIB. Majority of these loans were granted to road contractors, government-related parties, and government officials. And you have written it off. Uncle for scanning fee. A buying wood in a car. Instead of Betiano, also wunfia, and we're writing it off. We're writing it off, I will be sicker. So it will show on his books as negative. NIB would have recorded, or say NIB would not have recorded losses over the years if not for government interference and writing off of government-related party loans. Road contractors were paid through another bank, even though NIB was the main financier of these projects. My brother, this is what is happening in this country. Mema Mausika. Say Fakoye Road.
Why you Jumanary na ye tua canon? Yakutu alpha baby. Yakutu Jessica Nafa baby. Isn't there we were boka?
NIB problem no. They are buying way and they create a problem.
But that's a P. I was young, baby, I do my own for course, Kaka, and her say, you bet me, Edisia. Now, yeah, her the NPP promise on the May in 2020 about Isikasem. And then the Omutre or Krat, and Tina Mikuta Buku Nibino. Until call online, crying out bit mania 2020 manifesto NPP. Ubinya, Waka, kind page 14, and home common Yediano. Baby, I do near Befa course, Kaka.
Answer no Befa course, maybe 1 minute.
Say, your baby,
Debbie, we perceive can we answer a course. NIB Bank na ye can. Last week we buy and the catch us NIB is almost 60 years in this country. Okay. Over the years, no, Shania my NIB. Uti.
Me too, pa.
ADB na, you say, ye man many NIB no, or ye NIB neba.
NIB na war.
A bank a free NIB. UMB, a banker a free NIB. Nestle Ghana, up until recent, NIB is the major shareholder of Nestle Ghana. Make a new ma NIB any contribution the bank NIB ama or my way are. And this say it's last near Guno.
The Mamifa course na answer na Mamifa course na 0302 771 Yemfa course kakra answer ye DC. Hello, good evening.
Hello.
Good evening.
Yeah, even though I said, what do you say?
Yami Adarumo now, sir.
Kasa no air free the power, we took Kasani.
Tisia there.
What's for there?
Media Meta one capa.
Yo, Mitia, Etia, wow, honor or honor.
You,
Mitiano, but me son idea about consolidating Mamma. Me person I can me ba. What's me by the mamma? Send me opportunity more her or mommy or mommy. And second is one. And someone working in now. I asked them, and yes, some fool. You know, we need a Yapro MPP for say, Nakanya MPP and the power data more. Naka data bank, Naka Okahovi. Because those times, no, our yes idea, no, sir, Kapano, net data bank will need it. Capital no I can 400 billion and 400 million. Data bank no will need it. But what you need to put amount for there, it is in it, the man of passport. Go me any now, Yami Fiani now. Yami Fiani now. Me the coupon jam, I depend there, bye bye.
Me da CP Alaji so bad you made the 0302 771 593. Good evening. Hello, good evening. Hello? I'm so Jinaso. Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
What for Udini for Aqua Casa Free?
Hello, good evening.
And but Udini for Aqua Casa Free too.
Hello.
And but yourself, Fra, but what they are true movie Casamphony, no one are Jumuno. Yes, I know. Feedback and I be no when in your home. Good evening. Hello, good evening. Hello.
Hello.
Good evening.
Good evening.
And but you Udini for Aqua Casa Free.
Good evening.
Mr. Humano so hard in the way. 0302771593. Hello, good evening. Humano so I share ma. And by Jota Menka. Say Ahumanu super and so yentimin febi.
Hello.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Of our dinner for Aqua Casa Free. And by your body, not for yentil.
If I say I may contribute to the program.
All right. You are live into my intel, but Bodina for yentil.
Medindi Kajo na Naomi say Ubebisa say abai we oye be for an answer ebonsam. Because ultimately say e planning evil pa de ma omanya uma onana no any wasifo ebe wo mu nyina ba ke ultimately na planning say ubekukum ubesai oman no. How can people tell this kind of lies and go to bed and are able to sleep? School grandpa mate for this is too much. Deliver and
you. That's P 0302 771593. Good evening. Hello.
Hello.
What are we doing for Aqua Casa Free?
But the friend Newtown.
Okay, me too. And but me too, why?
Be patrol. Man, no studio. Man, no studio. It's either on kind of query and now our studio as a NDC propagandist and now on paper kind of query.
But you tell us awesome.
Before our banks collapse, we say go for the SaaS service and lose baby to customers car. For example, the example. Okay. Before the collapse of the banks, let me save you. I'm an IT technician.
Okay.
Go shop on Lego campus. Now, before the collapse of the banks, now you me save you base capital.
Okay.
Let me save you base capital. Let me save you to be Kisema, if you be seed. As I save you before to do credit loans. No, you got to a point. No, now you are Kisema, no, almost 10,000. Almost 10,000 year before cross the bank. So,
okay, sir, and no microfinance and another bank because in common no didn't a bank. One can microfinance as a momaye or emphatic or kasa about banks. How one can microfinance and issue.
No, microfinances.
Okay. All right. But that's it. You no come out dealing in ano. On a meeting come off our banks no. Because maybe say microfinance no kasa no na hono onim se ne na enyam site na bank one sem no kan. Hello, good evening. Hello, good evening. 0302771593 also bet me afena etie wo nkomo no bi na fe ya pemma ko. Good evening, Bacho Udin for Aqua Casa Free.
Hello.
Bacho Udin and for Aqua Casa Free.
Hello.
One chin who and view Casa for you now one temenka why crache. Oh fra chon who free TV no one yes I buy hello na be you so. Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Udin for Aqua Casa Free.
Hello, good evening.
within nifa kwa ukase free.
Hello, good evening.
All right, yemfa ninsi. Bye. O friend na untime nyum television me frɛ na ye ne abrepa na dwowe. Hello, good evening. When you say our friend we gina so yemfa nsi ye ni bre anwumre we o fra medical mo nya ne ntie. Say ye ne abre ne ye di nkomo mfra nko gina TV so ntie wo nkasa. Sa ne ma ne ye so bio. O fra dwomo no ana afiri ho na ni me nkasa wo phone so dan mfra nko gina TV no so nte nka. Ye de bra abru kroma na nya bete o. Abuja nkomo ye di na anwumre we banking sector cleanup ye share ye mbo say ye be ye ene ye hwe aniama didi so ama ye be di sa adwumedie no de etuemu ene ba be ye di aba beduru asoman nkomo ye ne yera David Zekpa edi eno no oye political commentator afin so sanso ye an advocate for responsible democratic governance nkomo ye di ene anwumre eno no ye bre no ayebe ye course no nso say omufra no mu pese omuti omunti ye de besi na ya wrap up enkomo no na ye de nyina esi na obi ka se na bank wasem na o kan na make say me bisa ma o ka say we are privy to banks enkomo na wodi no cause am say na microfinance we no kwa no but answer na ebe kɔ no sa microfinance companies do na akra mo nsanka mo sika me will be from Man Capital or Domain Market. A good phone brand on Monkrata, some new musica, some in da sucramia. But permanent Nipana Bank yen Indiano, Yera Alan, Even Alan, and your launcher manting. Only Ghana who are buying it, Mamma Quama or Amanone. Why a bank? Aja Manfosica, Kamama, and or no, the system 90 months, no. What you know? The microfinance for the say a kind of jebe boy.
Said na mahiti aba make asano. Cause na ama majojo kakra.
Eyepa, say omo majojo.
Aban we o say o kan aban we asema wan hwa and na ye friend na no. Unya bin na because omo ne yo enye correct and enye papa na how will I say?
Enye papa.
Yes. Their activities. Okay. It causes vexation of spirit. This government, the way they do things, they cause a vexation of spirit. Okay, so I'm happy the call came through our Mama Jojo Kakra. Nemu microfinance companies no. Ne dosu.
Yeah.
What you say?
So 348 was
yeah, no. It's in the woho. Ebe can why can imagine say it was a huge number. Okay. Now you might think say it's too much, but the fact is that it helped with getting the unbanked to be banked.
Okay.
So what you do is that some microfinance we need organization because I think they have the is it
some organization
they are regulator. I've forgotten the name. Task the regulator to make sure the right things are done.
So omunyina nso share the central bank na se.
Another institution be real.
Nti one na regulate sa banks
I'm a regulator. I'll get the name and tell you.
Now, microfinance for so regulator.
Jamaican say so you don't have to do the whole song. Say you could na. What I say because the effect is too bad. But because we are concluding, impact na ye kano. There was impact on businesses. Me sans impact on businesses. Yen customers ye call staff omo ayaje omo adwuma. Banks ni gu yen e be create unemployment and only uber for na banks obe hu say o ye banker ne sika kakra bi e wono no dey akoto obi a we university or ye adwuma wo bank 10 years 15 years 17 years na wie ye ne say akofo ado aban ba o me aban ofori ata aban mu no obeye uber driver
obeye innovate
yes
yes I am fa
yes into unemployment ebeye high people even lost confidence with savings. After we do sika kotu bank now you must
yes at time but people don't have that interest again.
Amount for
onim bank abegu chira
amount for sika ko share investment biom and the ko share your friend is Ghana Stock Exchange. Ko share figures e wo ho. It's not doing well and it's all because of this. Na nyama we nyina no omo hwe enka. Na omo aboni nyina po no omo ato ama yewura mahama na mbom answer na meko no question back one maybe say mete say na obi collect ne baako can be say na Data Bank 2012 after the elections Akufo-Addo lose here no Data Bank, what was their financial position? Did anybody go after them to collapse them?
No. And I been told you, I said, now it was clear, say no,
not official, but they were struggling. Now the point is that,
but Obi investigation, my young will say, okay, now the situation on the ground, say
customers,
you know, they also
when
a
bank is struggling, customers will feel it. But at the time, nobody was witch hunting any bank in the system. A cycle, business, a cycle. A dry idea, no make us say, a dry idea market na crano. A to de bia market ye, a to de bia market ye. O se ka odi dwana crano, a so to metia abafom. And so be hunu na nemamu yesa, be hunu na wasa be nyeska wo. And the Data Bank is doing very well because nobody came chasing after you. Can Data Bank tell us that at no point in their history, Ufuriata Bank Jamaica, at no point in their history did they have difficulties on their books? Number 2, Prudential Bank. Say 5 banks now. GAT. NIB Kahono. Those 5 banks, no. What was their criteria? The ones you collapsed and the ones you qualified this way. What was the criteria? NIBA State Bank, Prudential, on what basis? Because it's a private bank. On what basis did it qualify and GN didn't qualify? On what basis did Prudential qualify and Unibank didn't qualify? So, a buying way, so also mean a chatwa, a buying way, a buyer, a bro, a bo abrana, the my relate. Remami, Omubidi, bro, thank you. A buying way, a bidi, bro. MPP a buying way. Enya abanya ebuagana se wo hwe TV na wo hwe me a David Zekpa me say MPP aban a Nana Akufo-Addo ene Bawumia edi ano hello they are not a government that is good for this country. Nothing good can be written about this country.
Yeah, brano ko na nka me but yeah brano kwenti e besi na Dr. Addison to amania manfo say omuye hooligans ni aden but ye brelo kwenti
eno kra de unim eno kra de say be boss wa wan hwa e beji another 1 hour because a very very
na what say we dey
me yemu sheme esan say ye mpanyimfo etumi tu nsem say ema omama e the chaos e na eba wan kire obuo hwe obi di asem e be down na udwane to alota cholete utumika say me resign. I am not resigning. That is defiance.
Wo na wa management no awa wasan hwese on de oye na nya papa nti wa twere krata de bre no no so wo meje ono an se wa wo ba no wo se wo ye tutrafo wo ye niam basa nti anya no kwa so
wo ye kobolokra enwechi no say wo asem a wo kana me fan nye adwuma
ehun nya wo say unnecessary.
My brother, is this democracy? Does this man, Dr. Addison, does he believe in democracy? Does he even know what democracy requests of him? Does he even know? Because everything he said is wrong.
All right.
To me, can't say demonstrations are unnecessary in a democratic regime. Now, military for an say.
But that's the Hana Breve Maya Kwana. Beyond politics, you may be the AC and I Yawada, you'll be seeing me Aduma. A drada, you're best saying Isha, and then now they are chaying. Every no Equa BBO. You better production phoning in our say, Nayada, Inia, and I say David is a passes on so ever boy. Wow, Freya, wow, Shay, and Yame and Kahu. You're best saying Sha, a drada. Come.
CTV, Ghana's #1.